So I just beat Kingdom Come Deliverance at 2 in the morning after a couple days, or before a couple days, I should say, before Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 comes out. And this was my first time really playing the game. I didn't play it that much because I was kind of ass at it and I wasn't really that good, and I felt like it was really tough. And I gave it another shot and I played it all the way through. It took me about 50 plus 60 hours to beat the game, including doing a lot of the side quests and not doing some of the activities town to town, but I did all the side quests and I did everything that the main story had to do in riding off a component in the end, right? And from where I was in the beginning to where I am now, and just having the feeling of wanting more, I can just imagine what everybody was feeling from, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, where, the announcement for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was not out, right? And people were just really happy with the quality of what Warhorse Studios provided for this first game. And I must say, man, I am just genuinely blown away. This is a legit reaction, honestly. I don't know what to say right now, because like when I ended it, when I wrote off with Capone, I was feeling like I wanted more. And I feel like even right now, before the next game comes out, I'm going to get back on and dive through those other activities and just keep playing the game, because I just love everything that Henry went through from where you once were to where you are now. And you just feel like a total badass. You're in total control. You level up all your abilities. You maximize the different skills that you get to use, such as like alchemy for like potion making, or if you get to do more lock picking, if you're going towards like the thievery route, or pickpocketing, leveling up your speech, and all the different things from like the type of playstyle that you do. If you're very professional with like long swords, or if you're doing stuff with maces and shields and axes and swords, any weapon, and honestly even the bow, which I used a lot in the playthrough. And I must say, everything that I experienced so far is just truly phenomenal. Even just like doing the tournament in Rete, right? And just having the guy all the time yelling, we're about to duel with long swords in the companyship of Sir Lord Radzik Kabla, I just honestly like love even just the voice acting in this game.
We will witness a duel with longswords.
The dialogue from the setting that you're in, the beautiful visuals, like it's so stunning. Every town and different scenery, whether it's raining or sun, man, like truthfully, honestly, this game is a gem on all accounts. From every little piece of thing that I've ever encountered, if it's not combat or skills stuff, it's dialogue and questing, to the music, to the random interactions that happen across your journey of Old Bohemia. I am glazing the hell out of this game because it deserves it. And the last time I felt this way about a game was probably Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk 2077, where you can see quality put into a game. And obviously, games like Cyberpunk had its issues too. And even years later, Witcher 3 had a lot of bugs that people found out, and they were still, bugs that they were, laughing about online, and stuff that was completely wonky. A lot of things even happened in Kingdom Come during my playthrough, where there's like little bugs here and there. I had some crashes that happened, but overall though, it didn't affect and take away from the beauty of the game and all the hard work that was put into it. And for me, I am definitely putting this on a recommended list to anybody who ever wants to play a true gem of a single player RPG style game. And this leads me into going to talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and things that I can't wait to see and what I am expecting to see. And, obviously talking about, the characters such as, I believe is Musa, right? Which is like the new character who is, introduced into the second sequel of this game. And just talking about like things that I would love to see overall from Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now, the one thing that I'm like really looking forward to in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is how they improve the systems in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and really see how they are going to go about maintaining the, integrity and value of like, Henry going through all that struggle within the first game, and still keeping those systems in place where like there is a high skill ceiling and you could still grow from that, and how they improve on those systems within the second game. And one of the main things I'm really looking forward to, especially, is like the improved UI system, where you're going to your inventory management, and in the first game it's really solid. I would say it's, of course, some issues with like managing every single item, and it can be a little bit of a mess. But in the second one, it already looks like they are heavily, drastically improving the systems in place for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where the systems look more, toned out, and it's going to be much easier to swap weapons out or have things equipped on your toolkit. And the UI itself just looks improved, where you're going to have a more easier accessibility of access to items by inventory management or quick slots, in comparison to Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, where it was a lot of like reopening your inventory really all the time, which is not a big deal because it is a single player RPG. But still, it is nice to see a little bit more easier accessibility on a person's eyes, when they're, in combat or just playing a game and trying to, set the best style of loadout for their character without having to unequip everything and re-equip everything at the same time. So I could appreciate a little of touch up in that, certain category. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to the most is the new style of weapons that are going to be in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, because I know they have already announced and shown off the gameplay, which we'll show here, of the new crossbow, which I really think is badass. Like, I really enjoyed the regular bow as it was in the first game, but having a crossbow now adds a whole nother element of like, engagement with combat. And I cannot wait to see the different style of crossbows that they're going to add into the game, because I think it's just going to give another flavor to combat itself, right? But the one thing I'm very curious about, which I didn't really watch all the interviews for, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong or leave comments about it below, what kind of weapons you're looking forward to. But I'm just looking to see what kind of variety of new weapons they're going to integrate into the game, because I was looking online and I started nerding out a little bit about this after I beat the game. And I was like, what other weapons existed during this, early 15th century, breaking into this new era, right? So I started looking online, I started messing around. I was like, all right, well, during the old days, right, it seems like, the spread of gunpowder was actually a legitimate thing that was occurring. And, eventually Europe acquired the early handgun, right, during the 15th century. And it was, development that allowed the manufacture and use of more and more gunpowder weapons, right? And this was starting to spread around, and there was even earlier hand cannon designs. So you could see some familiarities here that Warhorse Studios was really doing their homework about how to introduce this into the game without giving, any people confusion on like, whether this game should, have guns or not, right? Because people were kind of confused about that, and were not aware that, during this time, yes, these weapons and this style of equipment did exist, and it was extremely slow, and it was tasking, and if you missed your shot, you were getting packed up very fast, right? Close hand-to-hand combat. But yes, these are going to be existing in the game, and I'm very excited to see the different types of prototypes and, noble style weapons, obviously, because, nobles will probably have a higher quality design model, and we will be able to get access to this, within the second game, which I'm very curious about. But these are just from a long range point of view, really diving into what they had to offer during this time in the, the 15th century. So now we dive into what else was there at that time to really, showcase its, versatility of, a different type of, weapon that Henry can possibly use, right? So we dive into this a little bit, and we get to see here that there was a multitude of different weapons during this time that potentially can be in, the next game. And one of my favorite weapons of all time, if I butcher this, forgive me, was the Zweihander, or the Zweihander. I believe that's pronounced in German, but I know this was a weapon I remember seeing in The Witcher. You can also get this in Dark Souls and other style games like that. And also the Flamberge, or the Flamberge. I don't know. It's one of the two. However, forgive me for my, mispronunciation. However, though, there is a multitude of different style weapons that I'm very looking much forward to, as well as, improved clubs as well. Seeing, because from KCD1 you had the bludgeon, but I would really like to see like a spike club. Maybe even the weighted chain would be really cool to see. Or even with hand-to-hand combat, we really didn't have any form of like a simple brass knuckle. But if they add the cestus to the game, which is, a glove, just a leather glove with spikes on it, that would be pretty badass, as well as seeing a different style of dagger, because mainly in the first game, you're really only using the dagger for stealth kills, but it seems like they're adding another style of dagger, which is the main gouge, which I'm looking forward to, experimenting with that as well as getting more two-hand style maces. So I'm looking towards the variety of like seeing different weapons being able to be used within KCD2 that will add a different flavor of combat and how you approach certain enemies, especially, on the battlefield, right? So I'm really excited about this, from, even potentially, them adding like a scythe, which that did exist during these time, even though it wasn't the traditional weapon that people would use. But, if make do with the weapon you got, you will use it, right? Or even spears or long spears, or even a possible quarterstaff, or maybe even seeing stuff that is something that we've never seen before in, this particular game, which probably is going to lead to my next point, which I want to talk about, is the introduction to Musa. Now, one of the biggest things that I'm really intrigued about is seeing this new character Musa, right? Which, according to Daniel Vavra, he says here in the 2 tweets when he was going off on, obviously, the rant, which a lot of drama happened during those days with people questioning, Musa being in this game because he is a black character and it wasn't historically accurate. Regardless of that, he's not from this place. He is a visitor, right? And I can make sense of that, but I really want to stay on subject of, the topic at hand here of just seeing the character itself. So, Daniel says that Musa came from Bohemia with an invading army as a member of the royal court of King Sigismund, and whom he met thanks to his engagement at the court of Sultan Bayezid. Forgive me for my mispronunciation, by the way. And he's an educational noble and a Renaissance man from the kingdom of Mali. And then he also says at the same time, Musa is a very unusual figure from the local Bohemian folk, and many situations around him in the game stem from this. So his presence makes sense and creates a lot of interesting situations in the game. The way he talks and behaves has a reason. So I'm really looking forward to see what Musa has to introduce himself as a character. Like, what is he going to provide in terms of, like, the story, maybe even some side quests. Maybe he even has a plunder of wares. And this goes back to the weapon conversation that we were just having on what other kind of weapons are going to be in the game. And if he's a merchant that has, exotic, equipment that maybe you can't buy with Groshen, or maybe you have to buy by doing him favors, or maybe he's a villain in the game, right? But this is where I'm starting to theory craft about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, because there's a potential that he might have exotic weapons during the 15th century, maybe not from Bohemia, but from other parts of other countries, right? Such as in, Asia during these times, like the katanas, or maybe even a possible, kama, or other weapons such as the jute, which is like, a very traditional Asian dagger, right? And there is a bunch of other weapons as well that they can introduce, but this leads to the curiosity aside of me, and this is a lot of theory crafting. A lot of this might not exist, right? And it won't be in the game, and that's totally fine. But it goes to make me wonder, what other kind of style of weapons are they going to introduce in the game? How are they going to make Musa a character that we enjoy and, enjoy his company around and, get to play with? And what are they going to use him for? Is it more for just the story? Is he a merchant? Is he a villain? Is he a good guy? This is the stuff that I'm really curious about in the long run, especially with the multitude of different weapons that they're going to provide within, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. However, though, that is basically what I wanted to talk about, as in terms of, my enjoyment for the first game, the weapons in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and also Musa's presence on how he's going to shine as a character, and, get to see what we're going to, experience for the most part with that, NPC, right? But besides that, I am really looking forward to this next game. I'm still going to be playing the shit out of, the first one, and just, like I said, doing all the other activities and having fun with that. And I am just genuinely happy about my experience overall. It's been a long time since I played a game I gave a shit about, like thoroughly actually broke down and said, this game is good, this game is fun, and I recommend it to everyone. And yeah, that's really about it. It's really late right now, guys, so I'm definitely gonna go to bed. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and give me your guys' opinions and comments below on everything that I said, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So much love to you. Keep on keeping on, all that good stuff. Shout out from the Cathedral and the Hydration Nation. And as always, amigos, have a damn good one.
So you guys are probably expecting some kind of juicy outro. Not unless one of you sons of bitches give me the new Taco Bell items, maybe the double dippers, or the steak-loaded garlic nacho fries, or maybe a Wendy's chili extra large with onions and cheese, and make it pronto right now, bitch! Right now!